Today we'll be talking about, oh god, Brightburn. What a piece of shit. This movie sucks. I'm not gonna beat around the bush this time. This movie was bad. It's one of those films where they thought the premise was good enough, you know, look, if a spaceship crash landed in your backyard with a child in it, and you went the next decade raising that child, all the while noticing he never bleeds or gets injured, would you suddenly chalk up his latest violent tendencies to puberty? If he broke the hand of a 5th grade classmate, would you still say, "You'll always be my baby boy"? What the fuck kind of movie is Brightburn? I don't think the filmmakers even know. It desperately tries to be a self-aware horror comedy, but each element conflicts with the other, and it ends up being a boring waste of time. I mean, this movie is pretty boring. It is pretty useless. Elizabeth Banks and David Denham, who were both in the Power Rangers movie together, play Tori and Kyle Breyer. Brandon Breyer. Play Tori and Kyle Breyer. They're just a couple who've had trouble conceiving. You can tell because one of the opening shots of the movie is the camera slowly going over their bookshelf, and all these books with infertility are just lined up there. Yeah, like, we get it. Infertility guide, infertility this, infertility that. I'm like, how stupid do you think we are? That's when I knew something was wrong. I'm like, oh, okay, you're just gonna pretend we didn't see the first one with infertility label. As they're making out on the bed, the house rumbles. Then a crash. Cut to black. Flash forward 10 years and now Tori and Kyle have a 12-year-old son. His name is Brandon. He's played by Jackson A. Dunn. If he looks familiar, it's because he was the kid Scott Lang when Ant-Man's first time travel run went wrong in Endgame. That's all I can really say about him. Wait a minute. 10 years later, and he's 12. He's celebrating his 12th birthday after the movie starts, you know, like 20 minutes in. So he was already 2 when he landed, where they assigned him that number. The people who made this movie think his face is creepy, and his eyes something to behold. The camera cuts a lot to him, as if he needs an exorcism. He ain't that creepy, really. That kid's face is not that creepy. This movie's trying way too hard to make him spookier than he is, and it doesn't work. And a lot of the movie's effects with him are lame to make an understatement. But this tone! The music is that of a demonic horror movie. And the spaceship in the barn, like, does this chanting, all this demonic shit. But Tori and Kyle play their roles like a lighthearted comedy. And as sometimes they're self-aware of how goofy and stupid this script is. And the kid is straight out of The Omen, but not scary. And most of the side players are your typical idiots who do nonsensical things in every situation. Save for 2 of them, which I will get to in a minute. None of this works. It's boring! The movie is a series of dumb, awkward setups for cheesy scares, and failing attempts at disturbing imagery. Mostly. Tori is delusional! At some point in making this movie, you have to assume the audience who is watching is incapable of critical thought. The mom knows her son is an alien from another planet. She knows he has never sustained an injury or bled. And somehow it's impossible to her that he's going around hurting people. Or that his antisocial behavior may be something more than puberty. I just shook my head at all of this. So many puzzling choices here. If this is self-aware, why isn't it funnier? Why isn't it more fun? Why is it played so straight when it's obvious no one wants to do that? The movie has some intentional laughs. Most of them are not, by the way. The audience we saw it with was on our same wavelength and laughed at the inconsistencies. Explain to me how Tori denies her son's evil when she knows he has brutally harmed a little girl and openly lied and disappears for long periods of time, but suddenly does a 180 when looking at the drawings in his journal, which also contain a repeated symbol of a B and a reverse B together. But you can't fool me. That's the Berserk brand, you cheapskates. The decent thing this movie could have done was make it way funnier, or had some legit terrifying moments. It thinks it's so smart on the premise alone. What if Superman landed on Earth, but was evil instead of good? Suicide Squad posited the same question, in fear of Superman flying through the roof of the White House and snatching up the president. And look how that turned out. Look how that turned out. What's also awful is that a lot of this movie has the habit of being filmed in these close static shots, with the actors heavily in the foreground, and almost nothing of value happening in the rest of the frame. The wides are barely there, and cut away from as quickly as they were cut to. There are also like 4 locations in this movie, and not a damn visual cue to mark where you are instinctively. And they use handheld a lot. It's bad. Like, I don't understand. There's nothing going on in the background. You might as well have shot this all in the same fucking place. There's just the house, the barn, the school, his aunt's place, the road, and the diner, and it's just... Oh my god, you can do a great movie in one location, okay? You can do it in a confined thing, but this is not the way to do it. This is not it when you are having the fucking actor so obnoxiously close to the camera. Not as bad as Les Mis, but it just doesn't work. You're focusing on these people here, and then nothing in the background matters. It's like all useless. It's not very... It's second hand, you know, second thought, afterthought, that's what I meant. It's afterthoughts, you know, they're like, oh, we'll just shoot this, you know, shot reverse shot scene, or we'll shoot this master shot, or we'll do this here at this kitchen table. Doesn't matter what's in the background, doesn't matter which kitchen table, we'll shoot this here in this diner, doesn't matter which diner, or this school, it doesn't matter what part of the school, doesn't matter who is walking around where. It feels so fucking empty and cluttered at the same time. I can't describe it. But I hated the way this movie was shot. This movie is also barely 90 minutes, with almost nothing here to justify it being made into a movie in the first place. Every scene is just a goofy, dragged-out, weak setup for something that should have already happened. There's even a stupid, useless dream sequence to fill up space. Like, they desperately needed to hit that 90-minute runtime with credits. This just felt like a fucking extended TV episode. It's like a 22-minute short that might have worked and drawn out 4 times longer. Forced. Look at the scene where Uncle Noah is killed. He's played by Matt Jones, Badger from Breaking Bad, so I'll refer to him as such. Brandon had the intention to kill him right when he tries to drive him home, yet he drags it out long after he's driven down the road, and then just flies there and hovers. For no reason. And then slowly lifts his car to drop him. Drawn out. Not the first time this happens. He does the same thing with the waitress Erica, who is the mom of the girl whose hand he breaks. Those are the 2 characters, by the way, the Erica and Badger. The only characters in this movie who act like people, shocked at the deranged actions of a 12-year-old murderer. No one else cares. The scene where Brandon breaks that little girl's hand is awful. He cracks and bends it all the way around. And the school and local sheriff recommends psychiatric care. You have got to be fucking me. Erica calls for his arrest. And the sheriff's like, that ain't your call, ma'am. That's not for you to decide, or some shit. I'm like, oh my god. This is unfuckable. Just fucking kill the kid, man. Badger berates him for showing up so late to his home and at least tries to drive him back. At least they tried before they died. I will say this, the gore effects are great. There are almost 3 moments with grotesque makeup effects that look fantastic. Brightburn can boast that the makeup and gore effect team brought their A-game when no one else knew what they were making. The director has made mostly shorts, and the movie was written by James Gunn's brother and cousin, with James himself producing. James Gunn has always produced trashy films long before Guardians made him a household name, and his humor has toggled between cringe and absurd, and borderline unfunny. I suspect his family writes in the same vein. And definitely for sure, I know none of this team was on the same page. Brightburn is the city in Kansas they live in. I didn't know that until I saw Elizabeth Banks Google the words. What an idiot I am, right? Wait, is that even a real place? Seriously, like... Brightburn. Kansas? Brightburn's biggest plot hole, grizzly thriller. These are all the movie... No, I just want to find out about the fucking city. Is it made up? Oh god, I'm so stupid. I don't know anything about geography. Oh, come on. This is all related to the movie. Brightburn, Kansas. Real place. I feel like it can't be real. Is it real? Is it a real place? It has to be real. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Is Brightburn a real city? Oh my fucking god. The Wikipedia page. Blah, blah. With superpowers, Brightburn, blah, blah. Living in Brightburn, Kansas. Is it a place? Wikipedia, you fail me. Brightburn does not exist. It can't, is it, guess they made it up, huh? No, is it real? I don't fucking know anymore. Oh my god, I'm wasting so much fucking time. Oh my god, I'm an idiot, whatever. Brandon's bright red eyes and flying across the screen are letdowns. It's just so stupid. Except for the shot where he tackles the waitress and almost the camera too, where it's just like whoosh. It was in all the trailers, that was pretty cool. This my shit. All the girls stomp your feet like this. Few times has a few cool shots here and there, and I liked a final and few brief moments high in the sky. But it's not worth seeing this stupid movie. It was never finished. A good premise of an evil superhero wasted on an undeveloped project. So skip this movie entirely. There's a lot coming out this summer that you should see. Don't let Brightburn be among them. I mean, the characters overreact to certain things and then brush other things off, like, look how the movie pays so much attention to Brandon when he finds out that he wasn't, like, adopted or found that, when she's like, we found you, he's like, you lied to me, oh, and it's like, okay, he's mad about that, and the movie's, like, paying attention to that, and then, when he snaps the girl's hand, literally cracks it and snaps it all around like this 12-year-old girl, or, you know, the fucking movie is just like, whatever, and Elizabeth Banks is like, you'll always be my baby boy, and no one cares except for the mother, and it's just, what the fuck? I said 5th grade earlier, I should have said, 7th, I guess that's 12, I don't fucking know, they never tell you. And then this movie has in the 50s on Rotten Tomatoes when it should basically have in the 20s or lower. I don't understand. This is another example of Chris Stuckmann and whoever else, Jeremy Jans, I hadn't seen his review yet, but recommending movies just because there's, like, one good thing about it, you know what I mean? Like, the premise alone, you know, was enough for them to justify telling people, yeah, you should go see this movie. No! It's not good enough. There's too many movies coming out like this that are just wastes of your time. Okay, they tried to make something and they fucking failed at it, and just move on, man. Like, good God. Can't be telling people to go see shit like this just because you're on the creator's side and everybody makes a masterpiece now. And no, this movie is not good. It's not good, and you should not waste your time with it. And honestly, if you have the chance on Netflix, you can skip through and watch some of the cool shots, and that's really it. Low-budget movie, sure, but it was low-budget ideas, I tell you. Great premise, wasted. Wasted. God damn it.